Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Good morning to you all. Glad to see so many people here this early. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see. I'm going to say hello to everybody. Cliff Higson. Hello. Thank you. Welcome. You were the first one today. We didn't get Archangel 3 until just now. Somebody beat you, Archangel. Cliff was first. And then we got I Kiss. Good to see you always. Archangel 3. Yep. I Kiss. Terry Barnes, of course. Good to see you. Let's see who else. Nancy Marco, good to see you. Welcome. FN Lawyer, of course. Just another nut, always. Good times. Love you guys. Terry Barnes. Captain Happy, yes. Good to see you in here. Stanley Haynes, commentator auditor, of course. Welcome, welcome. Salacious, my man. Woman, you know what? I never thought about that. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. Abby Pullman, welcome again. Good to see you. And Maggie K, hello. Morning from Florida. That's where I'm at too, actually, right now. Broadcasting live from Florida, where it's freaking hot and rainy and thunderstorms every day. It's all right, Archangel. Um, So anyway, welcome everybody. How's everybody doing this wonderful morning? Always good to see everybody here. Uh, my hair's still wet. I literally took a shower while my intro was playing. Um, you're having pancakes, delicious. I had a la croissant. Um, West Coast. All right. Yeah, I'm over here by the Gulf of Mexico. Dr. Ass Nuggets live streams are all gone. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. He caused a lot of drama recently. Um, Virginia, that's nice. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome. Good to see you. Hello. Welcome to the channel. And today I got a couple things on deck, and I had an idea. And I'm thinking today's show is going to be a bit of a banger because I was thinking about because it's been a while since I've really talked about it. Um, I think I'm going to cover a couple things, and then afterwards, I think I'm going to do a reading of my book, The Frauditor's Handbook. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. Those of you who aren't familiar with it are going to be like, "Oh wow, yeah, it's great." Um, I did have Cake did a reading of it. Vilified Freedom did it. Um, who else read it? Uncle Artie's Burn, Grill of Stupidity. So I got a lot of good people that are fans of my book. First time to catch the stream. Had surgery yesterday and can't sleep. Having you can distract from the pain. Oh, I'm sorry, LJ. Well, I hope everything turns out okay. Uh, I always hate to hear about people that are having trouble, but you know, we're here for you. Any support, anything you need, let us know. We're good people. You heard Uncle Artie reading from it? Yeah, he made it a whole thing. Um, Me and him talk a lot. Like I've been on a bunch of his streams. He's been on a bunch of mine. So it's interesting because I know a lot of people find his sense of humor somewhat offensive and don't really get it. But me, I think he's hilarious. So when he did my book, I was like, yes, this is great. Um, but yeah, so I think I'll do that in a little bit. Um, before we get into that, though, there's a couple things. Yesterday, there was a lot of stuff going on. First of all, for those of you who didn't see it, and I know I saw some of you in the chat at the time, Skeptic's stream last night was pretty interesting. He was going over of course, the whole Chili De Castro situation, but it was cool because he played Chili's birthday stream, and basically he called it the unbirthday stream because he was pointing out that like how kind of depressing is it to see that, but it makes perfect sense because it's him seeing that on his birthday the only thing he had to do was go live sitting by himself talking to the camera for hours on end. uh, that's a great way to spend your birthday. Oh boy. Yeah, but what are you gonna do? It's chilly. What did you expect? um, and then it was funny because at one point, and let me preface before I even say this that I'm not saying anything bad or judgmental or anything about anyone who smokes marijuana, but just the way he did it, it was like when you're a kid and you're first trying something, like he's like, "Oh, guys, I'm high, I'm so high," like a teenager. It was so cringe. Um, my kids taught me a new word the other day. I'm trying to remember what it was because I thought of it at the time, like, "Oh, this is the perfect word for me to use to describe chili," and most frauditors really. Um, Badussy. He's a badussy. um, I guess that's supposed to be like a pretty serious, like when you talk to Zers and you call them that, that's not good. So, okay, I'll take it. Um, but so anyway, let's take a look at, speaking of Chili De Castro, let's take a look at the Grifty Awards and see if he's still in first place. If not, we got to get back on there and vote for him some more. Let me pull that up real quick, see where we're at with that. Do 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 do. Oh, his wish list on Amazon. Yeah, he's got all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh, he's still in first place. Let's take a look. I'll drop the link in the chat too. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, the Grifty Awards for 2022. First place at the moment is Chili De Castro. Look at that. Go vote for him. If you're not sure, here's the link on how to vote for him. Paste. Boom. There you go. Let's look at that full screen because I love it. Yes. Oh man, that's so awesome. I wonder if the people who like actually do the Grifty Awards, like as a result of him winning, are gonna have to like do some research and find out why he won. Um, hey, Weed Skador, man. Um, I was sticking up for you yesterday, man. When you said that idiot comment yesterday in Troll's stream, were you talking to Troll or were you talking about DMA? Because I said that I thought you were talking about DMA, but it seemed like Troll thought you were talking about him. Um, so I don't know, man. I mean, if you two got beef, I don't know nothing about that. I ain't got no problem with you. You're one of my biggest fans. Um, that's what I thought. That's what I told Troll. I mean, I said it in the chat. I don't know if he saw he usually reads my comments, but I don't know. That's what I thought. Um, yeah, Troll totally misunderstood that one. I was like, no, that's Sweet Skador. He ain't talking about you. Um, but anyway, so there's that. Um, then a couple other things that happened yesterday. Um, so this, yeah, that's the problem with chat. Things could be misinterpreted. Hey, Dr. H.M. Smitty, what's up? Um, and you know what? Honestly, I've always had that issue, not just with chat rooms and stuff, um, but with text in general, like texting people back and forth. Like it's so easy to misinterpret something when it's just in text and you don't hear the inflection of the voice. You don't see what do you mean? No, I'm not talking about that. Um, so I don't know. It's difficult sometimes, but that's why I always try to give a little bit of, when I see things in chat, I always try to make sure I understand what I'm looking at before I comment on it, or I'll ask to clarify. um, but so anyway, speaking of yesterday's streams that happened, I wanted to talk about this News Now Ninja deal. For those of you who don't know, um, nothing actually ended up happening. But I was watching this live when this happened, and I thought it was great to see because once again, and as always, um, the whole idea of auditing some sort of public, like in other words, private citizens, right? Not the government, not government agencies, none of that sort of thing, but just random people, um, is one of my pet peeves with these idiots because they spend so much time making this excuse that we're all supposed to believe and that their fans do for whatever reason, that they do what they do to expose corruption within the government, to hold government agencies accountable, and to basically educate people about their rights. They're helping general citizens, and yet they constantly audit civilians. How does that accomplish any of their stated goals? And one of the reasons why you shouldn't do that is because something like this might happen. And believe me, I loved it when I saw this. This was great.
It's pointless.
What's up?
What?
Get that camera up before I really get on there,
bro.
Before I get on there, come outside. Come outside.
You know you just assaulted. That's
I don't give a fuck.
you just assaulted somebody.
I was just so upset.
No, we need officers called. He just assaulted somebody. Look how short he is. Wow.
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 Wow, you're
Can you let him know
dumb.
to chill
Wow.
out?
I can't believe how stupid you
Yeah,
are.
let him
Wow.
know chill out.
Hey, video this shit, dude.
Let him know chill out.
Video this shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying video my rig, dude. My rig's all fucked up. Look.
Good.
Hey, stick around. The cops are on the way.
Oh,
Dumbass, the
you
cops
called
are
the
on the way.
cops?
Stick around.
I thought
If
you hated
run,
the cops.
Then it's gonna be more charges for you, idiot.
Oh, who's the
They're already on
snowflake
the way.
now? Who's the crying little baby snowflake now? He touched my camera. Oh my goodness. First of all, what's the purpose of auditing a civilian in the first place? And second, I thought you hated the cops. Why are you calling them all of a sudden the second someone touched your poor little innocent camera? Always calling everybody snowflakes, but who's a snowflake when somebody touches your camera? Yeah, they hate the cops until they need them. Yeah. Anyway, here was the best part. The cops never showed. And at the end of the stream, News Now Ninja sees a cop driving down the street. He walks up to the squad car that stopped at a red light and says, "Hey, officer, I just witnessed an assault. You need to help me." And the officer's like, "Yeah, I'm on another call," and drives away. I thought that was beautiful. It's I don't know, but it's like he recognized them and he was like, "Oh, these idiots, bye. I'm not going to sit here and listen to your nonsense. I don't see any blood." At least that was my interpretation. Wait, what? They don't know what assault is. That's right. Well, and that, not actually understanding what an actual assault looks like. And even, again, something that always comes up, right, with these guys every time is the whole tyranny thing. Like, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of ID refusal videos. And every single one of them is saying that the cop's a tyrant for demanding ID. No, he's not. If the cop was a tyrant, you wouldn't have a ID refusal video. Because if he was a tyrant, he would get your ID. One way or another. If the officer actually was a tyrant, you would have no, "I refuse to show my ID," and the cop did the walk of shame. Haha, what a tyrant. No, if he was a tyrant, he would have grabbed you by the throat, pulled that ID out of your pocket, and probably handcuffed you to a post and beat the crap out of you for a couple hours and sent you to the hospital. That's tyranny. Somebody saying, "Hey, do you have ID?" That's not called tyranny. That's called life. Deal with it. Oh, man. The intelligence level on these guys has got to be somewhere in the negatives. Tyrants do not give you a chance to call them a tyrant. That's right. And that's why I always say, like with the whole walk of shame thing, it's like, if, number one, if you didn't give your ID, number two, if you're still filming as they're doing the walk of shame, as they're walking away, and three, if you're saying walk of shame while they're walking away, then number one, they didn't get your ID. Number two, they didn't stop you from filming because you're filming them walking away. And number three, they didn't limit your free speech because you're saying walk of shame. So all of the three things that you're claiming, none of them happened, or you wouldn't have the video to make the claim. It wouldn't exist because you'd be in the hospital or you'd be laying on the ground in a pool of blood. Oh my goodness gracious me, these people are so stupid. Yeah. So there's that. And then there's for those of you who didn't see it or don't know what was going on with it, um yesterday, Denver Metro Audits went live with another. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I have to take my glasses off for this one. I got my morning eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to tell you about something that happened yesterday. You want to talk about corruption within the government and being an independent journalist who is dedicated to exposing the corruption within our system and our government, the disgusting Orwellian nightmare that we truly live in. And you're trying to expose that to the general public. You're trying to show the tyranny and the evil, the pure demonic influence that runs this country. What better way could there possibly be to do so than to audit a library? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Denver Metro Audits did another library audit with Sweet Tea yesterday. Hello, Gamer88. Internet God, what's up? Pack, how you doing? Artask Union, hello. Anyway, sorry, I got into character and I couldn't get back out for a second. So what? Troll went live while DMA was live because what happened was him and Sweet Tea and some other random idiot did another library audit because it's so important that we uncover all the corruption within the library. And of course, the library, like customers were getting uncomfortable with the cameras, so they asked them to leave. They refused to leave because you just pissed off my what? Because I own a camera, even though everyone owns a camera. And if owning a camera meant that rules didn't apply to anyone who had a camera, that means no rules would ever apply to anyone because everyone has a camera in their pocket these days with modern cell phones. But you didn't think about that because you're an idiot frauditor. Anyway, they so they do that and they go to the library and they won't leave. So the library calls the cops and they stay live for hours. The cops never show up. And eventually they just get sick and tired of it and leave. And at one point, because they were sitting in the library waiting for the cops, Troll went live with it because he was hoping to get some footage, but it was really just DMA talking about, oh, I heard Troll's watching now. Him and his fans are there. Well, let me show them why I do this, man. And he pulls out a piece of paper with handwritten on there an ordinance number that allows people to film in a library. And it's like, okay, but so that's my question to all of these guys. You know, they'll tell you, hey, did you know that it's okay for you to film in a library? Hey, did you know that other than you idiots, nobody wants to? It doesn't matter if it's legal or not because nobody would ever think to do that except for you. Well, what about the post office? Same deal. I've never even heard of anybody wanting to film anything inside a post office until you guys showed up. And then he's using, I don't remember if it was him or Ninja that was talking about it, but they were given the whole routine about, when I was a kid and you saw someone with a camera, you'd wave at the camera. How come people don't do that anymore? Well, I mean, I can't speak for every single human who ever lived, of course, but um, I've said this before. I was born and raised in Chicago. A lot of tourists in Chicago. A lot of things people wanted to get footage of. The Sears Tower, the Hancock Building, Buckingham Fountain, uh, later on the Bean, Grant Park, Soldier Field. Tons of stuff that tons of people want to take footage of. But of all the hundreds and hundreds of people I saw with cameras back in the day, never did I see someone with a camera and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? What are you filming? And they said, I don't answer questions. None of your business. Wait, what? Like they're false equivalencies, right? False narratives. But when we were kids and we saw people film and everyone was happy, now all of a sudden everyone hates being filmed all of a sudden. Well, because it's not the camera, it's the cameraman. It's not the camera, it's the cameraman. It's not the camera, it's the idiot holding it. When I was a kid and I saw someone filming and I said, hey, what you doing? They'd be like, oh man, I'm from out of town. I wanted to get some footage of this building because it's a really cool looking building. Oh, all right, cool. Not, I don't answer questions. I have the right to film. Leave me alone, buddy. Get out of my face, pal. I don't have to tell you any information. This is my secret private thing. I'm a journalist, so you can't say nothing. It's a little different. You say it's the same, you're an idiot because it's not. Oh, man. Next time I check out a book, I'm going to make sure I pull out my camera. Yes, always. Oh, man, these people are such morons. So, anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit of that so you could see this exciting, groundbreaking, newsworthy, intense footage from the brilliant, no, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Denver Metro Audits. Enjoy. And then stick around because after this I'm gonna read my book, the whole thing, out loud for you guys. The Frauditor's Handbook. So check this out from yesterday's live stream of Denver Metro Audits. Enjoy.
Of the Pikes Peak Library District. Okay, so they quote here CRS 24-90-119. And if you look that one up, it says a publicly supported library shall not disclose any record or other information that identifies a person as having requested or obtained specific materials or service or as otherwise having used the library. Okay, so that is on them. It says the public library shall not disclose any information. So they're already using this CRS here, guys, in their policy. It has nothing to do with me, right? That's just like HIPAA, right, Fraud Troll? Like, they're like HIPAA laws.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Stop right there. I'm sorry. But immediately I already have to comment on that. Oh, all right. So they always do this, right? They always do this. It says right here in the law that the library's not allowed to share information. So that's on them to keep that information private. They always use that excuse, not just at libraries, right? But they walk into a public building. Excuse me, can you not film? There's private information here. Well, it's your job to keep that information private. What do you think they're doing by asking you not to film it? Idiots. Oh.
The hook for HIPAA laws, not me, right? Has nothing to do with me. It's their job to protect their information. And besides, this is talking about like the CRS anyways, it's talking about like they can't tell anyone if somebody else checked out a book or something like that, right? Because people might want to know that. Well, who checked out the book? They're not going to disseminate that information. They're using this as an excuse to keep us from recording. And then they use CATS v. US. See? CATS v. US, United States Supreme Court case law, right? That's the same one that we all use, and that there's no expectation of privacy in public. So they're saying, if you guys know about CATS v. US, CATS was in a phone booth making a phone call, and the FBI tapped his phone call. And they said that since the Fourth Amendment in certain circumstances protects places and not people, that now all of a sudden the patrons have an expectation of privacy in the library, I guess, which is not what we're doing here, right? Then I have the case law here, guys. Okay, Frauditor in your audience. Okay, so it's Kramer versus the Board of Police of Morristown, New Jersey. That's the case law. Okay, the American Library Association.
That's the one I was talking about.
Recognizes
Handwritten.
this case law. Okay, that the only restriction that the library can put on the First Amendment is time, place, and manner. Okay, time, place, and manner. That's it.
Yes, but why a library? Why audit a library at all in the first place? What does that have to do with government accountability and corruption and all that? I don't understand. Explain it. You're explaining all this stuff that has nothing to do with that question.
It was invite only. I can't go and record that. This is open. There's no fundraiser. This is open to the public. Okay. So Heather Holt says Frauditor might be blocked. Frauditor, I didn't block you, bro. So if my mod did it, sorry about that. I'll go into my YouTube studio and unblock you if that's the case. But your mods were timing me out too when I was in your chat that one day.
Here.
They were timing me out. Maybe tell your mods not to time me out.
Read this one right here.
If their policy prohibits disclosing patron information, then why do they keep trying to dox DMA? Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's go
Oh,
talk to them about
that.
it.
Yeah, let me hold on. Let me address that
Let's go
real
here, guys.
quick.
Let's go talk to
Was doing it.
I love that.
I do too.
All right, so here's what happened. Earlier in the live stream, he was auditing the library, and one of the library security guards came up to him and said, "Hey, you need to get out of here, blah, 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 And what ended up happening was that they, oh man, it's kind of hilarious. They went to the security guard, and the security guard says, "Hey, Chris, what are you doing here?" And so now he's going to start giving the dude a hard time saying, "Why are you trying to dox me, bro? Why are you trying to dox me, bro?" Well, because he happened to know his name was Chris and said, "Hey, Chris," when he was talking to him. Like, there are a lot of people who, when they speak to someone, they say their name, right? That's just a thing that people do. Have you ever had a conversation with a human on Earth? "Hey, Dave, how you doing? Good to see you, Dave. Glad you came back. Hey, Dave, listen." Like, they say their name. The guy knew his name. So he kept saying it. And now he's going to get in the dude's face and say, "You're trying to dox me, you jerk." Like anybody doesn't know what DMA's real name is anyway.
Great job.
Okay. Hey, hold on, guys. I gotta butt in here real quick. I got something important that I need to say to you.
Okay.
So,
Hey, you and I have
your policy that you gave me, which states this law, right? CRS 24-90-119.
Did I give it to you?
Somebody did. This is your policy.
Having a good conversation here.
But this is important. Trust me, he'll
You're
want me to
okay
say
with
this. Yeah.
All right. So hey,
This is your policy, right?
I don't know. It's really far over there. And I can't read.
Okay.
Well,
We'll see how it
listen,
says
is
Pikes
it-
Peak Library
Is it
District.
our policy?
Yeah. Somebody gave it to me, one of your colleagues, was talking about we can't record because of this CRS 24-90-119.
Yeah.
So 24-90-119 states a publicly supported library shall not disclose any record or other information that identifies a person as having requested or obtained specific materials or service or as otherwise having used the library.
That's long-winded.
So what this says is that you're not allowed to say anybody's name. So you're over there trying to dox me, right?
No.
You're saying my name, Chris. Hey,
No,
Chris,
you
right?
didn't say that.
So
was
you're
your
actually
name.
in violation of this law. So you're the one breaking the law.
No,
bud.
you're the one who said you didn't have a name. So
Yeah, but
So
you
you
know
know
my
that
name.
his
But you know my name, and you just disseminated
No, I
it to
don't.
hundreds of people.
We
Yes,
have
you
it
did.
on
You
You
video.
just broke the law, sir. You
No, I
just
don't
broke
know
this
you.
law that you guys are trying to enforce on us.
I don't know it.
You don't know the law?
Yeah, it's clear that you
No, I
don't know
don't
it,
know his
and I'm
name.
telling you.
Dude, we were having a good conversation. Man.
Yeah,
We
my
were just
name's
talking
Chris. My
about-
name's Christopher. My name's Christopher. Remember you came over here? Hey, Chris. What's up, Chris? Do you like this, Chris? Remember trying to be patronizing like that?
No,
Violating the
Oh,
law?
yeah.
You're violating your own law and your own
No,
policy,
no.
bud.
no,
You're trying to dox me.
no. I'm not trying to. You can edit
You
anything
absolutely
out
did.
you want.
And you kept saying his name over and over.
Kept saying my name over and over again.
Yeah.
You're in violation of CRS 24-90-119, man.
No.
Trying to say that I have to abide by that. Yeah,
Yeah, until people came over and just started kind of like.
They're allowed to.
I know they're allowed to, but I would have liked to just have a really better conversation with you, without people shoving cameras and faces. And
we didn't shove a
making
camera in anyone's
accusations.
face.
But listen, dude, seriously, think about what I said, man.
Well, can you do what I asked?
What was it?
You don't remember?
I don't.
So I don't know how much of that you heard, guys, but this guy right here is in violation of the law that he tried to force on me. CRS 24-90-119.
I was like, Chris, right?
Yeah.
Blah
And
blah.
now he's like, oh,
It specifically says that the publicly supported library shall not disclose any information about people using the library.
Well,
You
you're
just
not-
violated the law,
You're
man.
not using the
You
law.
just violated the. I actually.
You're violating.
I got
the
the financial report. I'm here for business.
law. No, you're violating the law because no one has told. You're filming people in the library without their consent. I just had a guy complain about you that you put a camera in his face and he told you not to, and you kept doing it.
No, that's not true. I have the whole
So
thing on the
that's
live
breaking
stream.
policy.
I have this entire thing on the live stream, so
Yeah,
that's
he was
not.
sitting
I
over
never
there,
did
he's
that.
livid. And in fact, he's writing a report.
Look, this
to
guy's
us.
lying. This
No,
guy's a liar.
He's writing a report to us saying that he was very.
Okay, well, I mean, I have an objective viewpoint, so I mean,
Yeah,
it'll-
and in
you have
that case-
security cameras here, so you'll be able to see I never shoved a camera in anyone's face and continue to do it after they told me not to.
Well, I mean, you can
So-
edit it later. That was before you.
No,
went
you
live
have your
stream.
security cameras here, right?
And
You have security
know-
cameras, bud.
You know what he did.
Yeah.
And you know what he did.
What I do.
What do you do? That the hell? I'm even stuck on that one.
Were you not with him when he put a camera in this
I-
guy's face over here?
Yeah.
Out of all the times
No.
I've been with him, he's never done that. Never.
I've never done that in my
Yeah,
entire
that
since
guy
I've
was
been doing
complaining.
this.
He was
Neither
like-
have you.
That guy was over there. We had a guy complaining saying, "Listen,
Okay, so if someone complains to you, so let's say someone had an allegation against you that you raped a woman, are you gonna believe? You know what I mean?
right? You have to have evidence of it."
Exactly.
Understood? Yeah.
You guys have all the
Absolutely.
security cameras in here, so I mean, you guys will be able to find that. That's not true.
Okay.
So.
Well,
But I mean, if you're trying
gotta
to give
lie
me a
to
law,
fraud
I
it.
don't remember who the one was gave me your guys' policy that quotes that law,
mhm.
and then you're over here violating that same law,
No.
right? Do you see the contradiction there, bud?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no way.
For you to say my name like that when I didn't give
I
you my name,
I didn't even know it was yours.
you kept calling me Chris, but you didn't know that was my name.
Well, I mean, you earlier self-identified as him, and so I was like, oh, okay. So, and refused to tell me the name when I was forthwith. And
Why did you think my name was Chris?
I was just grasping in the air.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
No, I know what happened. Somebody called in and
Did
they told
somebody
you.
call Lynn?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
that happens all the time.
This is
What do you
my
mean?
favorite
Somebody
part. This
called-
guy
somebody
starts
called in
trolling
here.
DMA.
Told
I
you
love
guys
it.
my name.
Like who would do that?
Well, I mean, it's a live stream, right? So people call in.
So people check the live stream and call ahead about you.
Yeah, because I got this guy. I got this guy that has an audience. They hate what we do.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah.
And so the whole
So
audience
the-
goes on there and tries to like undermine you and stuff.
I don't know if their whole audience does it, but yeah, they do that stuff all the time.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow.
So, but
Then
that's
why
what I'm
are
saying.
Why do they not like your videos so much?
You have to ask them.
Well, I mean, obviously you know.
Well, actually, I will tell you one thing,
'Cause you
and then I'm going to
just said you were
disengage.
like, you
I'm going
know.
to disengage. But I will tell you one thing.
No, no.
Well,
No,
you asked me a question. I was going to answer. I was going to answer it.
No, you just like diverted. Why is it they don't like your show?
I was just about to answer that,
Oh,
but
cool.
you cut me
By
off.
all
Man.
means, lay it
So I
on.
was just going to say I'm going to answer that, and then
Mhm.
I'm going to disengage with you.
Okay, that
so,
sounds like
What happens is the people that hate what we do,
yeah.
which this is actually being live streamed by them right now. They're,
Oh, I
they're
know
watching
you
this too.
said you're
Yeah.
live streaming multiple times.
No. I'm live streaming, but
Yeah.
the people that hate what I'm doing, they're also live streaming it.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
they're-
there's
well, they're
like
just
a
copying.
whole-
They're copying what I do. So the reason why they don't like,
Wait. Okay, go ahead. They're copying what you do.
he's restreaming it, right?
Oh, so it's like a restream. So he's getting views from your channel. He's
Exactly.
ripping them away.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, no, I'm not ripping views away because he has his own people.
Wow.
So, but I was
So
going to
So
explain.
is this whole like internal system of like people fighting each other and like
No, I don't fight with them.
Mean,
I don't
it's
fight
like
with
a
them.
turf war.
No. It's not like that at all.
It's
No,
not.
I like them. I like we call them trolls. So I like them,
Oh,
you know, because they help my channel grow.
Do they? How
Because
does that work exactly?
well, because what they do is they come on my channel and they click on it to view it,
As
so
soon
they
as
can
you get
they can
clicks, right?
yeah. Well, they're giving me views, and then they hit dislike,
Yeah.
and then they leave a comment. So YouTube, the way the algorithm works, it doesn't matter if you hit dislike.
Uh-huh.
YouTube doesn't care if you like or dislike a video. They only care that you're watching the video. So every time they hit a dislike, then they're actually increasing my algorithm
No
views,
way,
right?
really? So
Yeah.
dislikes count as
Yep.
and is your channel monetized then?
So, but I was just going to tell you
Wait,
the reason
is
why.
it monetized? Because obviously you care.
I
about
love this
views and
guy.
stuff,
Of course, I care more about disseminating information.
but it's
About views
monetized?
and money.
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, now he's
Well,
not
that's
telling
like-
any information. Yeah.
Right?
So your channel is
Yeah,
monetized.
just like when I asked you guys if the cops are coming, and you said that you can't disseminate that information. That's just like saying yes that they're not coming,
so
right?
Yeah,
Same thing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
hey, yeah.
So
you do
obviously
make-
the cops aren't coming. It's been
So you make a lot of
106
money.
minutes.
Do you make a lot of money? Is this like your
So-
main job?
I was gonna tell you, but you keep, trying to ask me other questions. I told you I was gonna tell you the one thing that you asked me, and then I was gonna disengage. Do
Okay.
you want to hear it or not?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the reason why the trolls, we call them, they don't like what we're doing
Yeah.
is because what they think that what we do is that we're just antagonizers.
Right.
And
Wow. Huh.
so as you
Yeah.
guys know, when we came in here, we were peaceful, and we're still
Uh-huh.
peaceful.
Yeah.
And we were walking around, and you guys came up. We had some dialogue, and it was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And the only thing
We
when
did
things
have good dialogue.
Yeah.
I liked how our interaction was earlier.
so the only thing is that there actually are auditors out there that do really a bad job, and I don't.
I've had them come up in here.
We talked about that too, remember?
Yeah.
And so those are the
That's-
people that actually I don't like either, and I disassociate with those once I find out about how someone acts or conducts
That's
themselves.
really cool.
I disassociate.
Yeah.
Because
But
Chili came to
they
one of
just
your
love me.
audits.
I don't know why they love me, because there's so many other people out there, like you said, who are really antagonistic, and they'll go put a camera in someone's face
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't take it to that extreme. We just come in and just act peaceful.
Yeah,
So-
we
but
just
that's the
audit
reason why they don't
libraries
like
for
us.
no
Because they
reason
think
at
that
all.
I'm trying to create a conflict.
Yes, you
Well,
are.
so real quick,
And I'm not.
You were saying that you
Then
don't
how
do
come
it.
every video you make has a conflict?
Like I didn't do anything earlier, and you were calling me names.
Because of the way you were acting.
What do you mean?
Because the way you were acting.
What do you mean the way I was acting?
You don't remember?
No, I was just talking to you.
Yep. We
You
can't do
remember
that.
the
It's
patronizing,
against the law to use
condescending
your
little kid
First
behavior,
Amendment
you guys
rights
making
if you're not
jokes
a
and giving each other
frauditor.
fist
Didn't you know
bumps.
that?
No, that was the
All
other
that,
part
remember?
telling me that I got a name too. You called me a name before we ever fist bumped.
What was the name that I called you? Snowflake.
Yeah, you called
Yeah,
me
Snowflake. Yeah.
That
exactly.
wasn't nice.
Yeah, it wasn't nice, man.
Well, I'm getting called. I gotta
Okay,
get
get back to work, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Bark orders, give unlawful directives. That's the way to do it. That'll prove your point. Oh man. So anyway, there was that, and of course another idiot being stupid, proving once again that they are morons. To everyone, including their own fans, and trying to call out Frauditor Troll because he knew he was watching it on his stream. Oh boy. So let's see. The deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up. So, one thing I did want to say though, because like I got people and hey, Candy Archibald, I didn't see you in here earlier. Welcome, welcome. So just wanted to throw something out there because I'm pretty good with my people, because I had Ham Banana and who was the other one? Just asked for a wrench. Anyway, I just want to make sure that I throw this out there. I recently started getting a number of emails from people who were in my chat just joking, and some moderator took it the wrong way and blocked them. So I just want to make sure that the rules for this channel are clear for all my moderators. I don't want anyone blocked or anything unless they're saying something that's way over the line. Hate speech, racism, sexism, that kind of stuff. Fine. But if they're just, supporting the other side or have a different opinion, Hey, I don't want to limit anyone's free speech, especially because I'm always. Oh, yeah, look, there she is. Listen, did you know? Oh, yes, you did. I saw that you commented on it, that you were covered on that Bootlickers Exposed channel. Yeah, I saw that you actually did comment on that, so I know you're aware of it. That channel is a joke, man. Whoever's behind that is the biggest freaking idiot ever. In fact, now that I'm thinking of it, let me look real quick because I left a comment on one of his videos and I wanted to see his response if he ever did respond. So let me take a quick look and see if I got any. Um, I mean, this dude, I don't know who's actually behind it. He's got what, 30 subscribers, 4 videos, gets maybe 100 views. Um, let's see. No response, but I got 4 likes. So, for those of you who don't know, um, there's this channel called Bootlickers Exposed. It's stupid. Like I said, he's got like 30 subscribers. His videos get maybe 100 views. It's nonsense. Um, that um, all right, so he does this thing where he disguises his voice and makes it all deep and with a ton of echo. You could barely understand what the guy's saying. But he posts these videos basically where he talks about us. He did a video on unclean hands. He did a video on Asia. Um, who else did he do? He did bits and pieces. Um, he did I think he did Frauditor Troll. He did Masshole. Um, anyway, it's all he does is talk crap about those people. And yeah, his channel is terrible, and he talks crap about us, our side. But anyway, he did this video called "Trolling 101 Explained" and another "Troll Exposed." And who does he go after in this one? I think that was the one where he went after you, hon. Anyway, he he spends a good because it's a what is it like a 20? It's a half an hour video, and he spends at least a good 15 to 20 minutes of it talking about um, yeah, a lot of people are saying that they think it's independent First Amendment auditor. Um, but whatever. So the point is, he spends like a good 20 minutes of his most recent video talking about cyberbullying and basically saying that that's what, Frauditor Troll and Massel Report and people like that are doing. And he talks about how, like, I'm serious. I'm totally serious. This is disgusting what you people are doing. Don't you understand that cyberbullying leads to people being depressed and feeling sad and that they could and then he gives the number for the suicide hotline, right? And like he's going off like he's so angry about this because like it's cyberbullying and so many people are committing suicide and blah 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 blah. So I posted a comment, and like I said, I haven't got a response yet, but I got a bunch of likes on it. Serious question, not trolling. Why do you care about people feeling like they want to die? But if people being audited feel bad, their feelings don't trump laws and they're just a bunch of snowflakes and Karens. Meh. Like, feelings don't matter if you're the one being audited, but if you're the auditor, your feelings are so sensitive and must be protected at all costs. Oh no. Hypocritical asshats. Um, yeah, internet god. He even not only does he claim it's not him, But if it is him, he even comments and then responds to his own comments on the channel to prove it's not him. Kind of like, in fact, he did a comment where he was like, "No, I know that you're a diddler, so I don't want to have anything to do with you." So if it is him, then he's responding to himself. Well, no, I didn't mean to offend anyone. I'm sorry, but I made a mistake. It's crapola garbage, nonsense, and poo poo. Anyway, guys, so the main event of the show today, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to do something a little bit different. I have done this once before, but it's been a while, so I think it's time to go back and do it again if I can find it. Oh, right here. Um, what I would like to do for you guys now, like I said, I've done this before, but I haven't done it in a while, so I thought it'd be good to share. For those of you who don't know, I wrote a book called The Frauditor's Handbook, and I am going to wrap up the stream today because it's going to take a while. I'm going to do a reading. I'm going to read the book right now for all of you, everyone who's here. And if you're actually interested in it from what you hear, I got a link in the description below. If you want to purchase the book, it's on sale at Amazon. And I'll show you the link and then I will begin my reading. Let's see. There it is. And here's how it goes. How to Suck at Life, The Frauditor's Handbook by Hezokuai Jenkins. You have to lie to fraud it. Schrodinger's cat. So you want to be a frauditor. Congratulations on your decision to dedicate your life to being a professional jackwagon. I can assure you, you'll find your new chosen profession will increase your arrest record at least tenfold, increase your chances of being trespassed by over 15,000%, and will make almost everyone you meet hate your guts. Well, within this guide, you'll find all the information you'll ever need to become a successfully monetized YouTube content creator. Or, as you will learn later in this volume, a quote-unquote First Amendment activist, with an income based entirely on how rude and offensive you can be. The more rude and offensive, the more revenue you will generate. Please keep a copy of this handbook on your person at all times for reference, and don't forget the most important words you could ever possibly say. There is no expectation of privacy in public. I lost my place in my own book. Getting started. The first most important things you'll need to get started are a serious attitude problem and vast amounts of hatred towards authority. A criminal record helps as well, but is not necessarily a requirement as you will soon accumulate one. A serious attitude problem is about the way you think. If you do not have such a problem, no worries, as the necessary steps required to acquire such an attitude are outlined in the next section. A good method of measuring whether or not you have the proper attitude is to ask yourself a few questions. Questions that, when answered, will illustrate how your mind works. For example, do I believe that I'm always the smartest guy in the room? Do I have a deep, seething hatred for the police? Have I ever smoked meth? Have I ever beat a woman? Do I hate elderly people? If any of these answers are no, you may not have the correct attitude for this line of work. But again, do not worry. This guide will give you all of the tools you need to have the proper mental state for frauditing. Let's see. Hold on. I think I'm going to change the screen real quick. Sorry. All right. Going to get back into it. Let's see. Here we go. Next, you'll need a smartphone with a camera. When you first start, be sure to film in low definition, holding your camera vertically as you'll need to create the appearance of growth over time to your audience. In time, you may need to add a gimbal, a flak jacket, pepper spray, and in the more advanced stages, some form of fraudulent press credentials. However, this will all come in time. As you accumulate fans, they'll pay for all your advanced equipment. Of course, you'll need to create a YouTube channel, but until you have some videos to post, you should only use the platform to troll anti-frauditor channels. When creating your online identity, try to think of a name that will express the purpose of your videos clearly. I suggest something like News Now, name of random city state, or auditing whatever, or some blatantly anti-police government. Always keep in mind your baseline goal is to create a negative interaction. The primary objectives, however, are financial gain and to get an adrenaline rush, but you must never admit to either of these things. Whenever you speak about frauditing, you must insist that you're a civil rights activist, freedom fighter, First Amendment activist, a journalist, and defender of the Constitution. Good morning, Susan, the sassy old great granny. Right now, I'm just reading from my book, The Frauditor's Handbook, and just giving you guys a taste of what is contained therein. And in fact, I was going to go ahead and put the text on the screen so that you all can read along. I just wanted to show you that it is a thing. It's a legitimate book. All right. Let's see. Is that on there? Yep. Okay. Change the way you think. As discussed in the previous section, a bad attitude is the fundamental basis for all successful frauditing. As attitude is about the way you think, you may have to adjust the way you think in order to achieve your goals. In this section, I'll give you some examples of how you can and should adjust your method of thinking. Now, if you're a narcissist, you already do think properly and do not need to change. However, you should still read this section not to change the way you think, but to add to it. I know you're most likely excited at this point to get to the script and begin your frauditing adventure. However, having the proper mindset is actually more important than memorizing the script. As you'll be dealing with humans, which have an annoying tendency to be unpredictable, the script cannot possibly address every single thing that another person might say. If, however, you approach the interaction with the proper mindset, when someone says something not specifically covered in the script, you can simply pull the answer from your twisted method of thinking. And when all else fails, simply repeat, "There is no expectation of privacy in public." So now you may be asking yourself, how do I change the way I think? Well, here's an example. Let's assume for a moment you're actually a normal human being. If you're walking down a busy street in a heavily populated area, there'll be many cars parked on the side of the road. As you walk past the parked cars going about your day, you may notice out of the corner of your eye a squad car parked at some point. Now, being a normal human, you would probably not even have a second thought beyond being cognizant of the squad car's existence and continue about your day. If there is, say, for example, an officer eating their lunch in the car, you may notice that as well. And nothing more will cross your mind beyond perhaps something like, is that a Reuben? I wonder if they have good sauerkraut around here. Oh, wait, I think it's a regular roast beef on rye. No, I see it now. It's a patty melt. This is a very flawed way of thinking and not at all appropriate for a frauditor. Now let us take the exact same situation, but look at how you should think about it. First and foremost, you at all times need to be on the lookout for police. As you're walking around, the moment you notice there's a police car on the street, you should immediately begin to record. You cannot think, oh, there's a cop, and nothing more. This would be an absolutely unacceptable state of mind for a frauditor. The proper mindset for a frauditor in that situation would be to trigger yourself, building adrenaline and anger with a specific train of thought. You have to adjust your thinking. The object you are seeing is not a police car, it's your car. And that cop is wasting your money by eating their lunch in it. You have to see yourself as her boss, and she is not on break. There are no breaks. Cops are to be in action, arresting rapists and murderers all day, every day. You, as her boss, cannot allow them to get away with wasting your money taking a lunch break in your car, slacking off. Therefore, it's not only your right, but your duty as an American protected by the First Amendment and his or her boss to inform the officer that they are in direct violation of their oath and is about to lose their qualified immunity for taking such abhorrent action as to have the audacity to spend your money on food and eat it in your car. By engaging in this or other similar thought patterns, you'll be able to work yourself up into a furious anger that will become quite helpful in your next step. I'm going to pause for a moment to take a sip of my drink. Let's see. All right. All right, here we go. The next step in the mental process is to convince yourself that you must approach the officer and command them, as you are their boss, to cease and desist their detestable activity and return to work immediately. At this point, you may be thinking that approaching a police officer in such a manner could be frightening, and perhaps you're hesitant to do so. This is an example of one of the many ways the adjustment in thinking comes in handy. You must tell yourself that a police officer is a public servant. You are a member of the public, therefore, the officer is your servant. You must tell yourself, further, that servant is another word for slave. The officer, therefore, is your slave and must obey your commands. Think also about all the clicks and views your video is going to get by creating a negative police encounter. And if all else fails, remember, the adrenaline rush is going to be awesome. Adjust your speech. In general, there are two schools of thought on how to speak during a fraud audit. The first and most common is called the Anselmo technique, named after auditing America's Mr. America, who identifies as Anselmo sometimes and Enrique others. This is an in-your-face, verbally aggressive method of creating a negative interaction. The second is the liar technique, based on the initials for the Long Island audit. This is the exact opposite of the Anselmo style and is based on adopting an exasperatingly passive-aggressive technique. The Anselmo style is more common as it is actually much easier to maintain a purposeful escalation of an encounter, escalating with it, than to do the same while remaining infuriatingly calm. Over time and with experience, you'll find which method works best for you. Neither is correct or incorrect, as they have the inherent equality of a desired outcome, a negative interaction. The Anselmo technique is based heavily on the old school con artist method of speaking quickly so as to give the victim little to no time to actually process any of the information and form a proper, well thought out response. This opens the door for the mark to make partial statements, misspeak, and potentially say something that is fundamentally incorrect, which in turn gives you the opportunity to immediately verbally pounce on the mistakes in their speech and accuse them of saying the wrong thing intentionally due to their ignorance of the law or an innate desire to arrest anyone and everyone they possibly can because reasons. When using this style, you must never actually give the mark an opportunity to fully answer, consistently talking over them, interrupting them, and asking them inane questions like, "Do you know what the Third Amendment is?" If they get loud, you get louder. If they something you have no response to, fall back on the script and say, "There is no expectation of privacy in public," or "freedom of the press," etc. The liar technique is essentially the same, except for the increase in volume. You must keep your voice down and remain calm. This style is much more difficult to maintain, but is quite rewarding. It'll give your fans the illusion that you're actually doing a legitimate audit. It also has the added benefit of being just as aggravating, if not more, to the victim, while creating the illusion of you being the victim of the horrible, corrupt government when they become upset. Adjusting the way you speak by adopting one of these styles will make following the script much easier. Whichever style you choose to adopt, always remember that the more infuriating your behavior, the more clicks and views you will receive, and hence more AdSense revenue. A popular variation of the Anselmo technique is the even more aggressive Smelly Cereal style, named for auditing the USA's Glenn Cereal. One of the current masters of this style is Frickin' Media, who will be covered more in the Learn from the Best section of this handbook. This is, in fact, the most easy way to approach frauditing, as it takes almost no intelligence or fast talking skills at all. Simply remember a few lines from the script: First Amendment, freedom of press, qualified immunity, and of course, there is no expectation of privacy in public. Then repeat these phrases ad nauseum, peppering in the most hateful, offensive, disgusting things your vicious, evil little mind could possibly conceive of. Several examples of this style include such classic phrases as calling a random woman a cum guzzling gutter slut, frickin' media, and telling a security guard, I'm a pep spray, you fool, KC Camera Boy. It also encourages you to use words that are considered taboo, like retard and the dreaded N word. This style is the preferred method when interacting with the general public, which has grown in popularity recently as many police are now being trained to ignore frauditors. Getting a negative reaction from the police is becoming increasingly difficult. By creating a tense, insulting, and hostile interaction with the general public, they'll feel the need to call the police, forcing the police to engage you and making your job much easier. No matter which technique you choose to adhere to, there is one thing about the way you speak that is absolutely required in every encounter. Whether police or the general public, you must never, under any circumstances, exhibit even the slightest sign of respect towards anyone. When dealing with the police, for example, you must not refer them by their given title, for instance, Officer Jones, but only address them by their last name, i.e., Jones. Now that we have established the manner in which you will need to speak, let's move on to more specific speech and take a look at the script. And now I'm going to take a quick break for a second because I need to take a sip of my coffee and also catch up with the chat a little bit. So, hello everyone. Let's see, we got any more new people in here? But yeah, this is my book. I got the. Here, let me put this back on screen for you. Well, actually, there's a link to it if you want to check it out. I'll show you the Amazon page for it. Hold on, real quick. Do 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 do. Yep, this is. Boom. There it is. If you like what you're hearing, this is the link, or well, the link is in the description below, but this is the actual page for it. Oh, I'm gonna have to update it now that Glenda's pretty much gone. Well, it's still, I don't know. I still think that the name, the Smelly Cereal style of auditing, is still something that he's earned with his brash and horrible. I bring up SGV later, as you shall see in the coming moments. Um, oh, it's because of the book that you subscribed to me in the first place. Excellent. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Kfar, hey, you missed Glenn. Yeah, he was so easy to cover. Yeah, all you had to do is just listen to him talk for a minute, and you knew this guy was garbage. Anyway, I'm just, like I said, taking a break for a moment to get my throat all situated. Um, but yeah, once again, if you guys are enjoying what you're hearing, um, this is my book, The Frauditor's Handbook. If you want to check it out, there's the link right there in the description below. And right now, the picture I'm showing is the actual. What are they? There's a word for it. Anyway, yeah, there it is. I've said this before on here, and this is one of the things that I still actually kind of. Oh, thank you, Frank. Thank you. Um, this is one of the things that kind of drives me a little nuts. To be honest, is I have a bit of. I mean, I guess I could say uh, you know, I'm humble, and when it comes to stuff like this, like the other day when I had some of my music on, I mean, I put my music in my videos anyway, but to actually just put it on or to just like, oh no, shipping to Australia. You know, you should have, because the link that I have is to Amazon US, Maybe check and see if you could order under a different. I mean, I don't know. You know, up there, um, or maybe. I mean, if you want to get the digital copy of it. Um, but anyway, yeah, I always kind of feel weird advertising my own stuff. You know, like I never come out and say, "Hey guys, you need to buy my book. Hey guys, you need to buy my shirt. Uh, hey, you guys need to whatever." You know, give me super chats. You know, I never feel right like asking for stuff or I guess blowing my own horn. I always try to be a little humble about it, but then at the same time, it's like, how do you make your fans aware that this stuff is available if you never talk about it? You know, so it's I always kind of struggle with that. Like I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. Like on one hand, it's like I don't want to just be on here promoting my own stuff, but on the other hand, if I don't promote it, how's anyone going to even know it exists? You know. So anyway, let's move on to the next section. Um, let's see. Let me get back to sharing the text so y'all can read along. This is fun. I love you guys. Oh man. Here we go. Memorize the script. There are many specific words and phrases that you will need to learn. Don't worry, however, there's no need to understand them, merely to be able to repeat them at will. You may be now thinking, well, wait, why do I need to memorize this crap? Can't I just film myself being a douche nozzle and get paid for it? No. The purpose of the script is to preemptively give yourself an out from having to suffer any real consequences from your actions. Remember, getting arrested is okay. In fact, encouraged, as the arrest videos will get you more views. However, the goal is to make money and the adrenaline rush, not to actually suffer any consequences. Ah, there we go. Using the script will put you in a position to not only get off with at most a small fine, but will also open the door to litigation against the state. And as much as the AdSense money is nice, a great big fat lawsuit or out of court settlement can get you that real massive payday. A frauditor in Wisconsin, for example, once was arrested while frauding Green Bay City Hall and was awarded a $300,000 out of court settlement. Imagine how much cocaine you could buy with that kind of money. Below is a partial list of foundational words and phrases you'll need to use each and every time you fraud it, limited only to whether you're frauding a random citizen or a cop, to shield yourself from punishment for your despicable actions. Although this is not a complete list of all script items by any means, they are the basics needed to get started. More advanced items will be covered in the tips and tricks section of this handbook. There is no expectation of privacy in public. I'm sorry, I have to do the voice every time. By the way, in my merch store, I have a "There is no expectation of privacy" public T-shirt with a witch like she's casting the magic spell. That's the default the default go-to for all fraudits. Name and badge number. The very first words you say to any police officer. This not only gives you the opportunity to accuse the officer of breaking policy if the officer does not answer, but also works to establish dominance, as you are now in control of the conversation, not the cop. Freedom of the press. Another standard go-to for all fraudits. I'm on a public easement or I'm in a publicly accessible area. Easement is generally used when outdoors. Accessible area is generally used indoors. I don't answer any questions or the silent treatment. To be used only when asked for your name, ID, or why you are filming. Otherwise, silence is strongly discouraged. See the Adjust Your Speech section. Qualified immunity. This is a slightly complex idea and is most certainly beyond your comprehension. For you, just assume that all cops are immune to all laws unless you simply make sure you say this to any police officer you meet. If you touch me, that's assault. Lays the groundwork for you to later file a lawsuit. The First Amendment, another another default phrase used as a catch-all. It encompasses freedom of speech, which allows you to say horrible things to people, freedom of press, which allows you to do whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, as long as you're filming it, and freedom of assembly, which allows you to trespass. I'm a journalist. Another way to claim freedom of the press. You're dismissed. When a police officer is about to walk away, say this to give your audience the appearance that the officer is leaving because you told them to. Walk of shame. When an officer actually does walk away, say this to convince your audience that the officer, having asked you questions, was engaged in shameful activity. There is no sign saying I cannot do this if there is no sign. A sign doesn't trump the Constitution if there is a sign. What law is that, and or is that a law or an ordinance? More standard word salad tossed at anyone who asks you to do anything. Public records FOIA request. This is a term used in fraudits of official government buildings such as police offices or city halls. It's used as a shield from future possible prosecution, as you can later claim that you were there for a legitimate reason, i.e., to request the form. You're supposed to enforce the law, not feelings, used in response to a police officer anytime they utter the word feel. I do not consent. Whenever a police officer engages in any activity that does not require your consent, you must verbally state that you do not consent. Am I being detained? A standard response to any question from any police officer for any reason, especially if you're clearly not being detained. This helps you to build a false narrative, which will be covered more in detail in the tips and tricks section of this handbook. All right, just a moment. Got to get some more of my coffee going. All right, sorry about that, people. The script items here are general terms appropriate for any fraudit situation. Below are several common phrases for use only in the more aggressive, smelly cereal forms of speech, as described in the Adjust Your Speech section. Call your daddy or daddy's here. This is to be spoken to random citizens when they call the cops. Daddy is the police. Karen. This is used in the modern derogatory sense. However, it is to be used towards any woman who does not like being filmed. Tung fu, a demeaning way to refer to a cop's reactions to your word salad, i.e., I whooped that cop's ass with some of that tung fu. Always keep in mind that memorizing the script is not about following it to facilitate a fraud. As described in the previous sections of this handbook, having a properly demented mindset as an and an instigative tone in your speech are key. The script, however, is tantamount to avoiding any real meaningful prosecution. You will, by reciting these lines, have a record on your video that can be used in court for your defense if need be. All right, and now I'm going to take another short break to once again get some more coffee in my throat. Cam back. They hate being filmed more than anything. It's so hilarious. We came here to educate you on your right to film people, but don't you dare film me, idiot, hypocrite, moron, dumb, stupid. Hey, Leanne Squirrels. I'm just doing a reading of my book right now. I hope you enjoy it. I think you might already have read it, but anyway, here we go. Just taking a quick break, getting a sip of my drink, and wetting my whistle so I could keep reading aloud. Is it Leland? Leland Squirrels. Anyway, she's a good supporter of the channel. Has been for a long time. We love her here. So let's continue. Misquote Poster 7. One of the most often misunderstood documents in any United States post office is Poster 7. Poster 7 is the rules and regulations governing conduct on Postal Service property. Why is this important to you? One of the most common and easy ways to break into the frauditing game is to fraud at post office locations. Why, you may ask? Well, the great thing about a post office is that it is vaguely public and private at the same time. Funded almost entirely through the cost of mailings and not tax dollars, and yet run by the federal government. Even the average postal employee is not fully aware of how it all works. Also, as with any job, if someone is hired, for example, to work the cash register, they'll be focused on learning on how to properly complete a transaction. The Postal Service does not have time to have every employee sit and memorize Poster 7. Also, as it's posted in every post office, there's no reason to do so. The average postal employee during their training is informed that filming transactions is not allowed. However, because it never comes up unless one of you arrives, over time they'll only have a vague memory of being told that at some point in the past. They surely will have no recollection that it is specified in Poster 7. These facts are what makes a post office audit so alluring and easy to pull off. Postal employees, in general, are aware that you're not allowed to film them and will often protest when they realize you're doing so. However, when you begin to babble on and on incessantly about Poster 7, it'll confuse and disorient them. Often, even the local postmaster will only have a vague understanding of the poster, as again, they have many other pressing matters to deal with on a daily basis than sitting around reading Poster 7 just in case someday some random nitwit will show up with a camera. So, what does Poster 7 have to do with filming? One of the sections of Poster 7 deals with filming within the post office. It's a paragraph that expressly states photographs for news purposes may be taken in entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, or auditoriums. This is the part of the sign you should try to memorize. If you could talk someone, be it a postal employee or a cop, into reading that section and you can quote it verbatim, they'll have a tendency to assume you know what you're talking about better than they do. So then, how do you misquote something when you're reciting it verbatim? Simple. You leave out the most important part. When used for public meetings except where prohibited by official signs of security force personnel or other authorized personnel for a federal, a court order, or rule, other photographs may be taken only with the permission of the local postmaster or installation head. This purposely leaving out the part that prevents you from filming is an amazingly effective technique. However, I cannot stress enough how important it is, if you do decide to fraud at a post office, that you take the time to become well versed in the first part of the paragraph. It'll become a vital tool in your quest to create chaos. By fast talking your way through those words, you'll most certainly disorient your victim. If you do happen to come upon someone who actually does understand what the Poster 7 says, ignore the irony that you were the one using it as a shield and immediately fall back to the signs do not override the Constitution line from the script. Another great reason to audit a post office is because Poster 7 specifically mentions for news purposes. As established earlier, you're always posing as a member of the press, citing freedom of the press and insisting you're a journalist. This opens up an entire line of argument on its own, giving you ample opportunity during any post office audit to harass and annoy a large number of people, which all but guarantees a negative reaction. I cannot overemphasize the importance of purchasing a single stamp and demanding a receipt. There are several crucial reasons for doing this. First is that, according to post office rules, Poster 7 serves as a summation of the rules, but the full text with more detailed lists of rules and regulations is available on USPS.com. Filming transactions is specifically forbidden. Therefore, by filming yourself buying a stamp, you're blatantly violating a specific rule that is not expressly forbidden within the text of Poster 7. This will often agitate the cashier, beginning the downward spiral into the negative reaction you're looking for. However, it is also just as common to find someone trying to be polite, providing the best customer service, and thus just ignores the camera. This is, however, an acceptable outcome because, although you may not get the negative reaction you're looking for, it does lead to the second reason to engage in the purchase of a stamp. The second and perhaps most important reason for buying one stamp and insisting on a receipt is to have physical evidence that can later be used to argue that you were in the post office for a legitimate reason. It's fundamentally the same idea as making a FOIA request. All right, another pause. Um, hey, Ironton Auditor, welcome, welcome. Um, for anyone else that is joining us late, I'm just doing a read through of my book, The Frauditor's Handbook, available at Amazon. There's a link in the description below if you want to check it out, if you like what you hear today. William Grabber, welcome, welcome. So let us continue. Learn from the best. Depending on how you define frauditing, and to some extent on who you ask, the original frauditor who over time has amassed an impressive following would be Amagansett Press. He is, in fact, now bringing his son, watching The Watchmen, with him on his fraudits and grooming him to one day take over the family business. Being considered the OG of frauditing, his technique has been refined over time, and his massive number of followers will exuberantly argue that he is, in reality, a legitimate auditor. Do not be fooled. He's one of us to the core, and his incessant ramblings are truly a shining example of masterful frauditing technique and style. Always traveling with a loaded pistol on his hip and quick on the draw with the pepper spray, he initiates negative interactions with both the general public and the police with a sheer virtuosity that is nothing short of awe-inspiring. For example, he'll seek out locations that do not allow firearms and enter with his pistol specifically because he is not allowed to, citing the Second Amendment as his excuse, while of course the only reason he would ever enter a building that does not allow firearms with a firearms, as opposed to following proper procedure to petition the government or the owners of the company if it's a private business to change the rule, which is what someone who actually was fighting for the Second Amendment might do, is to cause the people who work in the building to freak out and give him the negative reaction he came for. Now, if you're looking to follow the liar technique, your best bet is the man himself, Long Island Audits. He's also been around refining his technique for quite some time and is still going strong today. Within the frauditing community, he's seen as a beacon of how to fraud it should be conducted. He's almost lizard-like in his ability to remain calm, simultaneously creating an aura of the most extreme agitation and hatred around him. His mastery of passive-aggressive behavior is truly a beauty to behold. I once watched him harass and annoy a county clerk to the point the clerk turned red in anger, shaking with adrenaline, appearing to almost go into cardiac arrest. All the time, LIA was able to maintain a calm demeanor while digging his heels into the poor victim, finding that this was the man that was going to give him the most negative reaction possible, and therefore became his mark. It is indeed a masterful technique. He walks all over a building, calmly instigating negative interactions with everyone he meets until he finally gets someone to take the bait and zeroes in on that individual, making them the focus of his quote-unquote news story. This is known as spotting your mark, and he is a literal master at it. If your focus is to develop the smelly cereal technique, one of the best examples of this would be the aforementioned frickin' media. His aggressively abrasive manner, lack of manners, lack of respect, and lack of any sign of any level of basic human decency is rivaled only by the likes of Silence Boy, KC Camera Boy, Eli, NC Tyrant Hunter, and SGV News. Nevertheless, Frickin' does seem to hold the crown, Although Silence Boy's ability to piss off the entire Los Angeles Hispanic community has risen him high among the ranks of the best of the best. All right, now we'll get to the tips and tricks in a moment. What are we listening to, I wonder? Emma, this is the book I wrote. It's called The Frauditor's Handbook. There's a link to the description below. If you like what you hear, you can order a copy on Amazon. And yeah, it's a book I wrote about frauditors. And it's obviously a joke written as a handbook for frauditors on how to do their job properly. Tips and tricks. Over time, you'll become more and more comfortable with the information covered so far. The tips and tricks listed here are meant to assist you to refine your technique and are not necessarily of less importance in your quest for success than any other information covered in this handbook. First, if you have any, even the slightest tiny itsy little bit of empathy towards other humans, you must lose it immediately, as such horribly irrational emotions are naught but a detriment to your quest for negative interaction. Let's say, for example, you're auditing a private business that has children around for whatever reason, and someone kindly asks you to please not show the children's faces in your video. In such a situation, your tiny black heart may actually feel some level of empathy for the children. Common sense dictates that filming and later publishing the faces of children is absolutely abhorrent behavior. After all, auditing a business is already an absolutely pointless endeavor, but remember, the goal is to get the police involved and to create a negative reaction. So empathy and common sense must be thrown to the wayside in order to achieve said goal. In such a situation, the proper response is to use the "what law is that" line from the script. Always remember that if something is legal, that is the only thing that matters, even if it is immoral. Morality is irrelevant to a fraudit. Only the specific letter of the law matters, and even that is only to be followed to the extent that you do not desire to spend any real time in prison. Breaking laws like trespass, for example, is not only acceptable, but absolutely mandatory in order to ensure negative police encounters. Being that the punishment for trespassing equates to a simple slap on the wrist, it's not only okay to be trespassed, but encouraged. Finding the mark. As noted in the section on Long Island audits, finding the mark is essential, not only when using the liar technique, but during all fraudits. The basic process is always the same. It is only with which style you choose to do so that changes. The general idea is to film everyone you possibly can, randomly pointing your camera at various people until someone clearly shows signs that they do not like being filmed. You've spotted the mark. You must then focus your attention fully upon that individual until the desired negative reaction is achieved. If they do not cause any issues, move on to the next potential mark. Rinse, repeat until the cops arrive. Remember, the cops showing up is your money shot. Police officer makes a fantastic thumbnail, which leads to the next tip. Another sip. Create a brilliant thumbnail. The best way to do so is to take a still of one of the officers that arrive and put some caption about tyrant gets owned or ID refusal, audit fail, or walk of shame, etc. Excuse me. Keep in mind that the title of your thumbnail has nothing to do with whether or not the officer actually did anything at all. This is called clickbait. As you have dedicated your life to baiting people for negative reactions, clickbaiting is par for the course. Using a caption that is based on nothing that actually occurs within the video leads to our next tip. Always make absolutely certain that the narrative never matches the content. The narrative is what you say during the video, your commentary and the description of the events taking place. The content is what actually happens in the video. Remember that your aim is to create a negative reaction for clicks and views, while at the same time maintaining steadfast insistence on the idea that you're actually a legitimate journalist, a freedom fighter, an activist, and a patriot. This is achieved through your commentary. You must never speak directly to the persons you are interacting with, even if what you are saying is in response to that person, but to your audience through the microphone on your camera. Everything you say is being recorded, So make sure whatever you say is always supporting your false narrative. Here are a few examples of building a false narrative. If a police officer kindly asks for your ID, which you should never ever provide, however, a fake ID that says something like good citizen or press is not only acceptable but encouraged, you must say that the officer is unlawfully demanding your ID. If you're frauditing an active crime scene and a police officer asks you to step back, you must say that he's barking unlawful orders, giving unlawful directives, and has no right to do so. If a random person asks you to please not film them, you need to sell your audience on the idea that they're a snowflake, a Karen, a snow boy, a soy boy, an incel, or just plain stupid, because they do not understand what you are doing is legal. Again, morals are irrelevant to a fraud. Another method of building a false narrative is to always refer to any arrest for any reason as kidnapping. You've never been arrested, you've been kidnapped. This helps build the idea in the minds of your fans that the police are fundamentally evil, as they are being paid to kidnap people. Related to this is to be sure you always refer to any traffic ticket or citation as a form of extortion. Any opportunity you have to assemble a false narrative that paints the police in a bad light is to be taken advantage of to the fullest. As anyone with even the most basic ability to form a rational thought knows, some random douche canoe with a camera filming random people could potentially be using that footage for various nefarious reasons. From reconnaissance missions for robberies or terrorism, to filming women or children for more, shall we say, perverted reasons, there are many completely logical reasons to feel uncomfortable when being filmed by a random individual. As such, it is encouraged that you remain aware of security cameras when they are present. Obviously, such devices exist for a specific purpose that, although could possibly be abused, is known to the general public. Your purpose, however, is not known, and of course should never be spoken about. What should be said, however, is that the security camera is essentially the same thing as your camera. Filming people in public is exactly the same thing, whether it's your private camera or a security camera. Another tactic that is often necessary is to demand, never request, a supervisor. Although this may seem like a Karenish tactic, it is often necessary to maintain the illusion that you're in control of the situation. Although this is a very common tactic, it's not covered in the standard script, as it is only necessary if the officer you're dealing with actually takes your bait. If the officer you're initially dealing with simply asks a few questions and leaves, simply fall back on the "you're dismissed" and walk of shame. If the officer, however, actually does state that you are indeed being detained, trespassed, or arrested, you must demand a supervisor, as everything you say is used to build a false narrative and elicit a negative interaction. Demanding a supervisor is often a great way to achieve your goals. Quite often, when the situation is escalated by you, and always remember to blame the cop for causing the escalation, several other officers may show up on the scene. Although it may seem obvious that you're wasting police time and resources by engaging in blatantly abhorrent behavior, you must always accuse the cops of being the ones wasting time and resources. The more police that show up on the scene, often as a result of your request for a supervisor, the more you can accuse the police of not doing their job. Insist that they should not be wasting their time on you, although you are the one that is actually wasting their time, and should only ever chase violent criminals while in the act of violence. It is not their duty to prevent potential violence or to protect anyone. Your safety is not their concern. For example, if you want to walk into an active shooting and get shot, it's none of their business and they should allow you to enter. Of course, this idea is completely insane. However, it is not about you actually doing dangerous things. It's about distracting the police from their investigation by insisting they focus on you instead. Again, this may seem counterintuitive, but the goal being clicks, views, adrenaline, and possible lawsuits, such blatantly insane behavior has the potential to achieve all of your goals and is popular on YouTube. As you gain more experience and develop your own style, there are many other popular techniques that can be added to your standard repertoire. Telling the cops they're going to be fired and or sued for speaking to you, detaining you, trespassing you, or even arresting you is a good go-to. Also, claiming you know the law better than they do works quite well. A great example of this is the trespass law. Once you're told to leave any location you do not leave, you are at that moment trespassing. However, you must insist that a given location can only ask you to leave if you've already committed a crime. Discretion does not exist within your worldview. Freedom and the Bill of Rights are the cornerstone of American life. However, when frauditing, these concepts only exist in reference to you specifically. Anyone who works for the public in any capacity, even if they're just a secretary in City Hall, by accepting a government job has, in doing so, waived all of their freedoms and rights. Therefore, they've essentially agreed to become your personal slave. It's important to remember the same rules apply to private individuals working for private business. They are voluntary slaves of the company they work for, and therefore are to be treated as beneath you and unworthy of any sign of respect. No matter how small or insignificant your YouTube channel is, you must always insist that you have millions of followers, millions of views, and make vastly more money than the person you're talking to. How much money you or they actually make is irrelevant. It often helps to tell them they're now going to be on YouTube looking like an idiot to the world. Of course, as we all know, you filming yourself acting thusly only function as making you look like an idiot. But if you properly build a false narrative, your fans will inevitably eat it up. If you ever do find yourself being placed under arrest, and if you're doing your job properly, you eventually will, there are several important things to remember. First, you must always resist arrest while saying out loud for the benefit of the recording, I am not resisting. Second, it also helps, especially if you have any sort of a past injury, to say, you're hurting me. Remember, your goal during any arrest is to try to lay the groundwork for a plethora of potential lawsuits, including but not limited to false arrest, police brutality, excessive force, and a violation of the Fourth Amendment. In conclusion, the way to generate the largest possible number of clicks and views, and hence the most possible AdSense revenue, is to go out of your way to sell what you're doing as a form of civil disobedience, essentially painting yourself as a sort of martyr for the cause of freedom and justice. Your intentionally disorderly conduct, abhorrently rude behavior, and penchant for trespassing are tools to be used to incite negative interactions with the police, feeding upon your fans' innate hatred for the cops. All right, so that's that so far. We're going to take another short little break. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, because I'm reading, I'm not really seeing what's going on in the chat while I'm looking at it. Sorry. Um, anyway, here it is. For those of you who don't know what we're reading, this is the book, The Frauditor's Handbook by Hezokuai Jenkins. It's available on Amazon. There it is, all legit. Look, I even got the ISBN. I got my little logo on the back there with some quotes on the back cover. Do not be fooled by imitators or trolls. This is the one and only, the original, the amazing, the invincible, the uncanny, the spectacular, the mighty Hezokuai. That's me, yes, the author of the book. And yeah, that's what we're reading for right now. Reading from right now. So let's see. Let me take a moment before we get to part two to take another sip of my coffee and catch up on what's been going on in the chat. Regular citizens will know better because of you and the so-called watchdog channels. I like that. The watchdog thing is kind of like News Now Ninja on his live stream yesterday was talking about how this whole frauditor thing is a word that was made up by them. Well, the whole watchdog thing is, well, I guess it was made up by Virgo Triad, but she's a pariah these days. Let's see. Um, Norfolk. See, that's come up a couple times. People have been telling me like they're going after everybody now. But as far as I mean, Joey, that's a whole nother story. But as far as I know, Dr. Dave has no beef with me. Um, I said this before. I've heard him give me a shout out on his channel in the past. So as far as I know, I don't think he has a problem with me, but I don't know. Like I said, the only time I've ever heard him mention me was actually saying, "Hey, that Hezokuai channel is pretty cool" or whatever. Um, if I had $1 for everyone I kidnap, I'd have 12 numbers. Um, yeah, uh, not good. You need to read an audio version. You know what? Here's the deal. Um, for for those of you who aren't aware, um, the first couple chapters were read on a stream by Kick, and he is actually in the process of recording the official audio version for me. So when the audio version of the book is officially released, it will be Kick doing the reading. He's doing that as a favor to me because he's another great supporter of this channel. So I appreciate that he's working on that. Uh, and let's see. So you should have a chat bubble above your logo on the book with your catchphrase in it. There's no need to fear. Hezokai is here. Like I got on my T-shirt or my T-shirt. um, and Kick reads like Kick's reading is amazing. Um, Kick has a good radio voice. His voice is awesome. That's one thing I've never been like. It took a long time, especially being a musician. Doing a lot of recording of songs and stuff when I was young. Because you know how I mean, I'm sure everybody's had this experience at some point. The first time you hear your voice on recording, it sounds completely different than the way you hear it in your head. And it's like, I sound like that. Oh no. Um, you should do a podcast version of the book. Um, yeah. Um, I'm not exactly sure what I would need to do to kind of make this more of a podcast. Because that's one of the like when I watch a podcast, it seems to me like it's a dude sitting talking, and when I watch these videos like this one right now, it's a dude sitting talking. So like, what makes it a podcast as opposed to a stream? Like, what's really the difference between the two? I don't know. Um, that's why you'll never go up on any panel. Wow, sorry about that. I sound like a whispering death metal singer. Well, in fact, that's the only well, not the only, but I've written a lot of different music. Oh, thank you, Emma. Um, I actually, hey, Unclean Hands, what's up, brother? I've actually recorded a bunch of death metal songs back in the '90s, and I, I did that whole growl, kind of voice. But what I did was I actually to get a specific type of sound. I actually purposely recorded it where I turned the gain on the microphone all the way up and then I whispered very quietly. But I whispered like this. And it sounded like on the record with the reverb and everything. It actually sounds really cool and really intense, even though I'm doing it so quiet. Um, So anyway, unclean. Since you're just joining us, what I've been doing is reading from my book, The Frauditor's Handbook. You've been following me for a long time, great supporter of the channel, so I'm sure you're already aware of it. But yeah, I'm just sharing it. Once again, anyone who likes what they're hearing and want to buy it, it is available on Amazon. And so right now, I'm just taking a little break to get some sips and catch up on the chat. Mm. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Look at that. That's right. Um, I love it. All right, so let's continue on and read some more of my wonderful, wonderful book, written for the auditors to um, do. Wait a minute, Kfar, you were born in 91? I graduated high school in 91. That was my graduation year. I had the big 91 on my jacket. Um, yeah, Archangel, me too. Um, I should write another book on how to troll auditors. Yeah, that would be awesome. Uh, that would be amazing. All right, so let's get that back up there. And here we go. Part two, establishing a brand. At some point, as a YouTuber, you'll need to establish your brand. Something about you and your channel that is unique to you. Branding will make your specific content instantly recognizable and will keep your fans coming back for more. A great example of this is Fake Mike Real News. Although the fact that he always carries a whisk with him may look silly, the whisk is the fake microphone and is related to his channel name. It gives him an instantly recognizable gimmick. This is branding. Another good example of this is Direct D. He carries around printed copies of the Constitution and various local ordinances that he likes to throw on the ground whenever confronted by police. This is an in no way subtle and quite effective way to stand out from the crowd and further establish his unique brand. A few more of this include Silence Boy having the word Donda printed prominently on his bullet-resistant vest, his sunglasses, and floppy hat. Amagansett Press always beginning his videos with a date, time, and weather check, and Delete Laws always wearing his headphones in the exact same outfit almost every time he's on camera. Finding your unique style will quickly increase your subscriber count and help you get the attention you so desperately long for. Once you have decided to do something unique, regardless of how foolish or stupid it may seem, always stick with it, as the more you do it, the more ingrained it will become in the minds of your audience. I've seen many comment sections where people pose such questions as, "What's the name of that idiot who carries the stupid whisk?" This is called brand recognition. What you do not want to do is establish a brand that will, in and of itself, cause you to face real life consequences for your actions. The greatest examples of this are auditing the USA and, as it turns out, Silence Boy. Auditing the USA, Glenn Serio, at one point was the undisputed champion of the smelly Serio technique, hence its namesake. His excessively abrasive demeanor, unfathomably slovenly appearance, and abhorrent stench made for a unique, although quite more embarrassing than, say, holding a whisk, and instantly recognizable brand. However, he crossed the line far too many times and is now facing actual prosecution for a simple traffic citation he chose to escalate into something beyond his ability to handle. His despicable behavior has also served to initiate a tidal wave of social media hatred, including a Facebook page entitled Glenn Serio's a Dick, and the Tella Klein YouTube channel, and has inspired a now legendary among the anti-frauditor community young man to follow him around, filming him and spitting the same sort of vile language at Glenn that he was once known for using towards others. Silence Boy also built his brand on the idea of being excessively insulting and aggressive to the general public. His mistake was to use this technique against a Hispanic woman who was simply trying to run a street vendor business and did not appreciate some random imbecile filming her, interrupting her business, and hurling vicious insults at her. Although Silence Boy constantly talks about how much he hates the police, he's quick to call them when he feels threatened in any way. When he called the police on her, and the video of him instigating her behavior was released, followed by a news story covering the incident on Telemundo, the entire Los Angeles Hispanic community became furious at him, and he has now become a pariah within said community. Do not allow your brand to become your downfall. Always keep in mind being a frauditor is all about causing a negative interaction with the police. Even when frauditing a private business or an innocent civilian, the goal is for them to call the cops. Police interaction is not only inevitable, but the desired outcome. Therefore, it is of extreme importance that you do not open the door to any substantial backlash, either from the police or private citizens. Remember that branding is about giving your audience something instantly recognizable and unique to remember you by, and should not be something that would make even the pro frauditing community think you're an asshole. The Sovereign Citizen Connection. The anti frauditor legend, Schrodinger's cat, used to refer to frauditors as sovereign citizens light. This was due in part to the fact that soft-cits often escalate their police encounters into violence, frequently ending with their car windows being smashed, tasings, and being physically dragged out of their automobiles. This is why it is of great importance to always approach your prey on foot. There are videos of soft-cits engaging in such behavior as biting a cop when they reach for him, and there's even a video floating around the internet of soft-cits murdering a police officer over a simple traffic stop. As a frauditor, you must never engage in any form of violence beyond the occasional pepper spraying of a random citizen, as Poliotis' sister wife illustrated by assaulting a woman who asked her to leave her business and is, as of this writing, still in jail, and also as of this reading. The violence that exists in a proper frauded video must be implied through your commentary and false narrative building. Your video should always maintain the appearance that it's the police or the private citizen committing the violence against you, never the other way round. What does any of this have to do with the sovereign citizen movement, you may ask? Well, a great deal of what is considered a proper fraud originated with the soft-sit script, especially in court proceedings, which will be covered in more detail in the How to Act in Court section of this handbook. A standard sovereign citizen technique that is a must for any successful fraudit is to argue issues that should be saved for court with the police that arrive on the scene. For example, if a soft-sit is pulled over for speeding, they may argue the accuracy of the police officer's radar or the legitimacy of the speed limit in and of itself, keeping the police officer from their duties and wasting as much of the officer's time as possible. Similarly, if you as a frauditor are trespassed from a given location, instead of leaving, you should stay within the given location as long as possible, arguing the legality of the trespass itself with the officer when she arrives. This will have the same outcome of keeping the officer from their duties and wasting their time. Another tactic borrowed from the sovereign citizen philosophy that is applicable in most fraudit situations is the idea that the Constitution of the United States is the only law and that all local ordinances and state laws, by their very existence, is a violation of the Constitution. To make this work, however, you must completely ignore the 10th Amendment and under no circumstances even acknowledge its existence. Similarly, if you choose to add the freedom of religion portion of the First Amendment to your repertoire, you must completely ignore Romans 13, which states, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities." Another standard sovereign citizen tactic that is almost essential to any fraudit is to purposely quote inapplicable laws completely out of context. There's no need to actually understand any established case law. Simply pick up whatever you can from watching other frauditor videos or do a quick Google search for a list of important court cases. Federal Supreme Court cases specifically seem to be very popular amongst the elite of both the frauditing and sovereign citizen communities. In the same way the Constitution supposedly gives soft-cits the right to drive without a driver's license, it does not. So also does it give frauditors the right to do anything they want in public as long as they're holding a camera when they do it, which it also does not. All right, and another short break in between. Get back caught up with the chat. Let's see. Violet Wings, good to see you. Let's see. Ironton split. All right. Oh, Veen, good to see ya. Yep. Just today's spiritual read by Hezokuai. Om. Yeah. Yeah. Just reading from my book, The Frauditor's Handbook. Just thought, give everybody a taste. See if you like what you hear. You might want to check out a copy. The link's in the description below. Gotta keep my wet my whistle. Um, all right, so I don't feel too old until I have to get up from the floor. I like that. That's good stuff. All right, so all right, looks like we're still going strong. So, did Hezekiah write this? It's very well written. Yes, I did. Um, I wrote it, and once again, I'll go ahead and put this on screen real quick so you can see. Well, first here, I'll show you right here. I got the Frauditor's Handbook. I wrote it. It's legit, and it is available on Amazon. Um, if you like what you hear and you want to buy a copy, it is available. Again, there's a link in the description below. And I'm a GED, good enough degree. Oh, yes. Anyway, thank you, Violet. I appreciate that. And so let's get back into it, shall we? Let's see. Here we go. How to act in court. The most important way that the sovereign citizen movement affects the frauditing community is in how you should deal with court cases. In fact, most frauditor court appearances are virtually indistinguishable from those of your average sovset. The first and foremost thing to keep in mind while appearing in court is to never, under any circumstances, dress as though you are about to appear before a judge. Though not required, a baseball cap, t-shirt, and shorts are preferred. Also, you must insist on representing yourself. The goal of any court proceeding is to cause maximum confusion and to waste as much time as possible until it becomes so costly for the state to continue the prosecution that they simply dismiss the case. This, in both frauditing and SOVSA terms, is called a victory. There are any number of reasons you can cite for not wanting an attorney. If you choose to go the full SOVSIT route, you can claim that the B in bar stands for British, and therefore legitimate attorneys are loyal to the British Crown and not the United States. However, if you do not wish to appear completely insane and just want to get your case dismissed, I would advise against it. What the SOVSITs do assert that is valuable asset to the frauditor is to challenge jurisdiction. Although there are indeed several types of jurisdiction, the aspect most challenged in court is that of location. Thus, when challenging jurisdiction, the court will assume that you mean location. They will cite that the charging document, i.e., citation, for example, establishes jurisdiction. As a frauditor, however, it is important to understand that your definition of jurisdiction comes from the SOVSIT playbook. It is, in its most basic form, the idea that you, being a human, fall under no jurisdiction, period. Your argument, then, is that the court has no jurisdiction over you, not due to any actual laws, but simply because you say so. Jurisprudence and due process allow you to challenge jurisdiction at any point during the proceedings. This is important because it gives you the technically legal leeway to befuddle and confound the court into eventually dismissing the case. As with all complex ideas involved in frauditing, to not allow their complexity to frighten you, as none of the arguments you make hold any merit whatsoever. It does not matter if you understand them, only that you use them. This is why you cannot allow yourself to be represented by an actual eternity. Wow. Represented by an actual attorney because they do know better and would never allow themselves to be associated with arguing such blatant nonsense in court or risk being disbarred. Another tactic common among both the soffsits and frauditors is to speak in a manner meant to trap the judge into a circular debate. There are several common examples, such as the idea that you can at no time ever enter any plea. If the court asks for your plea, say you cannot enter a plea until the court establishes jurisdiction. If the court then does establish jurisdiction, reject it. When they get back into asking for a plea, again, challenge jurisdiction, and so on. Another shared strategy and a good way to confuse and befuddle the court is to ask legal questions. As you cannot do that, however, you must not put them in the form of a question, but as a point of clarification. This is exceedingly important as a judge cannot practice law from the bench, and your questions are meant to bait the judge into doing so in hopes of instigating a mistrial, just in case the dismissal tactic proves ineffective. Of course, throughout the entirety of the proceedings, it is essential that you constantly argue civil rights violations in hopes that not only will your case be dismissed, but that the court record itself can later be used as groundwork for a civil rights violation lawsuit. Remember, although your immediate goal in court is to get your case dismissed, your primary long term objective overall in everything you do is to get paid. Hold on, I need more coffee. I probably should be drinking water for this. Sorry. The most effective tactic I have seen in terms of wasting the court's time is a much more advanced sovereign citizen technique, but still tends to work just as well for frauditors. When the court asks you if you want an attorney, of course you must say you do not. However, as you have the right to an attorney, the court will be required to clarify that you understand you are waiving your right to an attorney. At this point, you may wish to insist that you will not, under any circumstance, waive any of your rights. Man, I'm getting all befuddled now. Now, here's where it gets good. You also have the right to represent yourself. Therefore, if you do have an attorney, you are then waiving your right to represent yourself. Being it is literally impossible to have an attorney present and to not have an attorney present at the same time, you cannot refuse to waive any rights at all. This tactic, however, although quite effective at wasting time, is fleeting, as the judge will most likely compromise by assigning you standby counsel. After all, no matter how much you study Google, other frauditors, our script, or the sovereign citizen script, you'll never be as smart as the judge. Thus, this tactic works best among judges that have little to no experience dealing with the specific types of idiots that you are, and therefore it takes more time for them to figure out what the hell you're babbling about. Anti-frauditor YouTube channels. A most disturbing recent development has been the rise of anti-frauditor YouTube channels. As the ranks of the frauditing community grow, so does the popularity of these anti-American bootlickers. As mentioned previously in this handbook, civil rights only apply to you specifically and not at all to anyone else. Our freedom of speech is fundamental, while theirs is non-existent. Therefore, it is not only your right, but your sacred duty as an American patriot to attack these trolls with false copyright strikes as often as possible. Now, you may be wondering, if everything you do is just an act created to generate income, how can we take the stance that we are actually standing up for rights and attack other YouTubers? Well, most of these people have a goal in mind to not only make money off of your hard work, but to get your videos demonetized. They have no respect for hatred, vicious rudeness, antisocial behavior, lack of empathy, or basic contempt for humanity. Many of them are professional attorneys, former police, and generally highly educated individuals. Therefore, it is impossible for a frauditor to ever have even the slightest chance of having anything remotely resembling a logical argument against them. Hence, here are some ideas of ways to deal with them on your level. As mentioned previously, false copyright strikes are a good way to slow down their revenue stream. However, it is temporary at best, as a false claim will inevitably be removed in time. It's much more desirable to enter their chat rooms during live streams and leave comments on their videos, trolling them with phrases like bootlicker, copsucker, various vulgar insults, and grade school playground level your mom/wife jokes. If you're ever invited to participate in a debate on any of these channels, beware. It is impossible to win a debate with someone whose IQ is, at minimum, 90 points or more higher than yours. It's a catch-22, however, because if you back out, it may appear you're being a coward. If you do decide to debate an anti-frauditor, you should conduct yourself in the same manner as you would during a fraudit. Fast talking, double speaking, and arguing in circles. As you're entering the debate knowing you're going to lose, use the opportunity to boost your false narrative, claiming you won and exuberantly touting such to your subscribers. The odds that your fans actually watch anti-frauditing channels is quite low after all, and being your fans will believe anything you tell them with little to no research. The benefit of participating in such a debate is that it will bolster your reputation among your peers as a courageous activist fighting the good fight against logic, knowledge, common sense, and basic human dignity. In conclusion, if you are a frauditor, have been reading this, and did not realize it's a satire making fun of you, I'm not at all surprised that your tiny pea-brained mind is incapable of recognizing when you're being thoroughly roasted. You are the dregs of society, and your activity will at best cause YouTube to adjust its terms and conditions, and at worst, actually instigate changes in laws that actually will negatively affect our rights. So thanks for nothing, douchebag. Hope your 15 minutes were worth it. The end. Yeah, so that's my book, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, News Now Enemy. Hey, don't talk about Hezekiah. It's against my rights. Oh, man. So, sorry, just catching up on the chat. Take a moment. All right. So, anyway, that was that. Good to see so many people here. Let me go back again and say thank you to everyone. Lillian Squirrels, always good to see you. Effing Lawyer, Emma, Lillian Squirrels, News Now Enemy, welcome. Always good to see you around. Just another nut. Got a lot of some great people in here. I love you guys so much, man. And seriously, and seeing, you know, similar, the same people coming every day. It's beautiful, beautiful thing. You guys have no idea how happy this makes me when you guys come out. Ham Banana, Veen Oi. Is it Veen Oi? Oi, 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 O-U-I. Oh, yo, hi. Archangel 3, Frank Baird, Evan Lawyer again, of course, Violet Wings. Judge Middleton's awesome. Carl Squirrely Fraudets, Commentator Auditor, Salacious, Pack, Scott Ammo. Just want to make sure I acknowledge everybody who came out this morning. Hand Banana, Violet Wings. Let's see, anyone else? I didn't get any supers while I was reading, did I? I was completely out of the screen. I don't want to miss any of that. Definitely want to address if that came in. Unclean Hands, of course. So once again, and as usual, thank you guys all for coming out. Thank you, Salacious. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out once again. Always love having you. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Hope y'all come and join me. And as I always say at the end, oh, yay, yay.